Oh, hey guys, it's Mr. Walker here, and welcome to another math lesson. Today we got a lot on our plate. We're going to be representing and solving three-digit division problems. Okay, so we're going to be solving by using a couple different strategies, and we're going to be solving some bigger and bigger problems as we move through. Now, you know me, I like to be witty and funny, right? Or at least try to be. And I have to say that coming up with like a funny joke or something to start this one was a little difficult, but I think I got the perfect one. I've been working on this for a while now. So here's the first line. Ready? I think this is going to be a good one. Okay. So what did the say to the? He said. Why doesn't get it? Do you get it? Oh.
20 minutes later.
Ooh, ooh. It's a good one, right? And it ties in perfectly to what we're going to be talking about today, which is awesome. So I'm glad I got to start this one off with a laugh, get you guys kind of get your blood flowing with some good giggles and stuff like that. So hopefully you enjoyed that one. But today we are going to be talking about dividing numbers. And in the previous lesson, you saw how we used some strategies like the standard algorithm for sure. We used the standard algorithm to kind of lay things out, and we followed like a certain strategy, certain steps to that. We also represented it visually, right? We had some of those place value disks and some things that we were moving around a little bit to see what was actually happening behind the scenes. We're going to do a little bit more of that today. We're going to do both things. I'm going to kind of focus on the standard algorithm side of things because I really want us to kind of hone in on that, but still keeping in mind that visual model, that visual representation, and what's going on with the numbers. Not that we're just bringing down this number or carrying this number, doing things like that, but why we're doing that. Okay, that's the focus. I'm totally okay with you using either method at either point as long as you understand what you're doing, that you're not just doing it because I told you to. Okay, you have to kind of understand that background there. So for today, a couple things that would probably be handy for you to have on you. One would definitely be something to write on, something to write with. And if you have that thousands place value chart, if you want to lay out some numbers that way, that'd probably be very helpful too. So make sure you have something to write on, something to write with, and that place value chart if you want it. And then we'll go ahead and get started. Whew, that joke. That was a good one. All right, so we're going to take a look at some division problems here. We're going to start, we're just going to jump right into things and go. I was going to start with an easy one, but I think you guys can handle something probably a little bit more challenging. So let's say I had 297, 297, and I wanted to divide that by 4. Okay, so I'm going to divide 297 by 4. So I want you to set it up in your place value chart if you want to draw it out. You can, but go ahead and draw it out and set it up the way you want to set it up to solve it. All right, guys, so we have our division problem set up here of 297 divided by 4. Now, what I'm going to be doing, we're going to do two things again. I'm going to be, on one side, I'm going to be doing the standard algorithm, kind of following the steps, what it is I need to work through in order to solve this division problem. On the other side, I'm still going to represent it visually, using those place value disks and those things to represent what it is that's actually going on as we follow the steps of division. And before we get too far, I want to point out one thing that kind of helps me remember the steps of division, and that is this mnemonic device here called Dirty Monkey Smell Bad. So DMSB, Dirty Monkey Smell Bad. Never smelt a dirty monkey. Again, I'm assuming they probably smell pretty bad, right? So how that helps me remember my steps to division is that each one of those stands for something else, and that stands for the D stands for divide, M for multiply, S for subtract, and B is for bring down. Okay, now these are like the steps of the standard algorithm. We're going to learn what each one of those means a little more in depth again today, kind of like we did in the previous lesson. But I want you to understand that we're not just doing these because I told you to. We're not just doing these steps because that's what the math book says. We're doing it because they actually mean something. They're representing something that helps us to actually take that number 297 and divide it into 4 different groups. Okay, that's what we're trying to do. So even like the bring down step, for example, yes, we're bringing that number down, but why we're bringing that number down is because we're regrouping. We're unbundling another place value to make the division process work and to be able to keep dividing that number up. Okay, and I'll point those out as we go through, but just so you know as we go through that. So if we're going to set up the standard algorithm way, we would take that 297, put it inside like the little house there, and we would divide it by 4, right? Okay, easy enough. I'm going to draw my place value disks over here so we can do both at the same time so we get a good understanding of what's going on. Okay, these will be my hundreds, these will be my tens, and over here will be my ones. Cool. So I have 2 hundreds, I have 9 tens, and I have 7 ones. So I'm going to take those 2 tens, 9, I'm sorry, 2 hundreds, 10 nines. Holy cow, I can't get this one. I'm going to take my 2 hundreds, my 9 tens, and my 7 ones, and I'm going to divide them into 4 groups. So let me go ahead and draw my 4 groups. 1, 2, 3, and then this will be my 4th one. Down here, just kind of extend those lines a little bit. Cool. All right. So let's start off with the standard algorithm, and then we'll come back over to visually represent it over on the other side. Okay, so my first step is to divide. So I'm going to start with my hundreds place. Okay, and I'm going to say that those 200s, can I put them into 4 groups evenly? Can I distribute them evenly into those 4 groups? And right off the bat, I cannot. So again, if I come over here to my place value chart, if I were to move these guys, can't put like one here and one there. I don't have anything else for these other 2 groups. It's just not going to work, right? So I'm going to move them, moving the wrong thing here. I'm going to move these guys back up here. And what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to regroup, okay? I'm going to have to unbundle these and make them into 10s instead, okay? So when I move them over here to my 10s, they're going to break apart. And how many 10s are there in 100? There's 10 10s, right? So these 2 hundreds are going to turn into 20 10s. Okay, so I got my 20 10s. I'm going to go ahead and take my 200s out of here, so we don't need them anymore. And presto changeo, there we go. All right, so now I have 29 10s, and look at that. 29 is my next number in that in my division problem, right? So now I'm going to take those 29 10s, and I'm going to see, I'm going to put them into groups of 4. Can I do that? Sure. I'm sorry, I'm not going to put them in groups of 4. I'm going to put them into 4 groups, and I could do that evenly. So let's figure that out. How many are going to be in each group? Well, I'm going to start by estimating. So I'm going to think of this 4 as a 5. Think of the 29 as a 30. So if I do 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, it should go in about 6 times, right? That's just kind of a rough estimate to help me get close, right? 4 times 6 is going to give me 24. And actually, I think I can get a little bit closer. If I do one more 4, that'd be 7 times. And that would get me up to 28. So I could say there'll be 7 in each of my 4 groups. So that's my divide part. I divided my 29 into groups of 4. There'll be 7 in each group. Now I got to do the multiply, okay? 4 times 7, that would give me 28. Then I do my subtract part. There's 1 left over. And then I'll get to the bring down in just a second. So let's visualize with our shapes over here, with our number, our place value disks, what's actually going on. So what I did was I divided those 29 10s into these 4 groups. So if I do that, it goes something like this. 1, 2. Perfect. So now, even though the sizes of the dots are a little bit different, but it doesn't matter, they still represent 10s. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in each group. Each group has 7 in there, which is what we said. And there's one little 10 left over all by himself, poor little dude. But we'll get to him in a second, okay? So this is where the bring down part's going to come in. So I'm going to take this 10, and I'm going to unbundle him. I'm going to move him into my 1s, okay? So that 110 is now going to turn into how many 1s? Right, 10 1s. So what that means is I don't have 110 and 7 1s left anymore. I have 17 1s. So now I have to see if I take those 17 1s and put them into 4 groups, what's going to happen? All right, so let's do that first. Let's count out these. Okay, so when I dispersed them evenly, I ended up with 4 in each group, which if I come over here to kind of check my work, 4 times 4 would give me 16, and I would have 1 dude left over, which is my remainder of 1 up here. So I could put 74 with a remainder of 1 is going to be our answer, okay? So we were able to represent this visually using dots. We were able to follow the standard algorithm, knowing that we need to divide, then multiply, then subtract, then bring down. We were able to do both. Now we're going to start moving towards using just the standard algorithm, but either strategy is fine. Okay, if you prefer drawing out the dots and lining things up and dispersing it, cool. If you like that standard algorithm and following those steps, that's cool as well. Whatever you you need whatever helps you to remember what you're doing. Again, with this dirty monkeys smell bad, I know it's kind of silly, but it helps me remember my steps. So if you need to write that at the top of your sheet when you know you're going to be working on division, if you need to write it at the top of a test or whatever it is that you're doing, write it down. It'll help you remember, okay? So hopefully this makes sense. Hopefully this is coming together rather nicely for you guys. I know you're super smart, so I'm not going to bore you with a whole bunch more of examples, but if you want some more examples, if you want to practice this some more, just reach out to me, reach out to your teacher, reach out to your learning guide. Let us know. Be more than happy to help you out. So I appreciate you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed that joke. Be sure to share it with all your friends. And if you guys need anything at all, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you know where to find me. All right, I'll talk to you soon.